done in our country. And I mean like life-changing for the good percentage of people in the United States, like on a monthly basis, getting worse every month for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I can think that any kind of defense we have is it's a numbers game. There's so few of them and so many of us that even though they may have all the control over us that they think that they have, it is hard to control 7 billion people.
The problem is they don't control us just physically, they
Oh,
control
I understand.
our minds.
And they've got radio waves, and all the kind of weapons I wouldn't even, have any idea that they have, but I'm sure they have, okay? But still though, we otherwise, because we are these animals that can fight back. We do have will. Wow. And if we put our will together, because I think if they could just do away with this, they just do away with this right now.
Well, how about advertising like, pamphlets and things like that? I mean, really, we got the internet and stuff like that, but like the campaigns of, brainstorming certain segues, that's just the segue into it.
What result, people were migrating to their cell phones, which absolutely choked up and line cut. May or may not be true, but yeah, but I mean, it was amazing, the reaction that happened with the public, and of course they were making jokes about it this morning, about how many babies are going to the 9 months. I try and keep a positive, this is a constant fear-mongering thing, and yet nothing ever really seems to come out of it, other than they slowly build a more and more, restrictive and Orwellian society.
However, the one difference being though is that there's supposedly these people that are disappearing from these FEMA camps. So that wasn't happening 10 years ago when they,
Remember during Katrina, there were dead people all over the Superdome.
I can see where that's along the same lines. I think they've ramped it up though.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
And so even though like with the turn of the millennia, people were all freaked out about that getting 6 months of medications because the computers were going to break down and all that. But
imagine that.
Yeah.
6 months worth of medication. To live on the planet, you need 6 months worth of medication.
Right.
Yeah. But the biggest thing is
that's something you might want to square away. You know what I mean? You need to find out what you really need to live, because if that falls out, you have what you have, and that's it. Not many people are ready for that.
What is it? Something like 60% of people are on a constant supply of medication nowadays?
Yeah, way worse.
Is it?
It's off the hook. It's off the hook. The United States is like.
my older sisters have these pills.
That's wild.
One of these, like 15, 20 pills every single day.
Several times a day.
Hello.
Yeah.
Does it look okay, guys?
And the mood altering ones, if everybody goes off those, that's really scary.
That would be, yeah, everybody.
It's kind of like they're setting us up, isn't it? Crazy.
So when is the hammer going to fall? Who knows? But like, I do know that if they
being more of a censorship, are you guys looking for a new platform or posting your videos on a new platform that we can all start to subscribe to?
In case the internet goes.
Well, we're looking for sure. I mean,
found a few. Yeah, we found YouTube. What else is there? BitChute.
Disney.
Yeah, BitMe. There's stuff out there, but we're gonna ride the YouTube thing until they kill it, and then of course we're gonna.
I think it'll be up for a long time.
Yeah, but they're gonna be censoring the hell out of us. They're just gonna censor us right off of YouTube.
I think we should start ACE2.
I can find some pretty crazy, creepy stuff every day. There's no end to the amount of weirdness.
You can find someone's head getting cut off, but then you make a vid about Sandy Hook, and your channel gets deleted. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shit, man.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think is the best way to go about trying to talk to people? Like, because that's everybody's biggest hurdle, right? Is trying to spread the message and people.
Or do you spread it?
It just, you know what I mean? And it's like the harder you try, the harder they push. You know what I mean? Like, reject it.
Well, the first part, of course, is to kind of
documentary
find out
film
even how open they are. Remember, I was saying earlier that there's some people. It doesn't matter what you say or do. They're never going to.
Well, we just got started.
You kind of have to, get a feel for where they are. What do you think about the moon landings? What did you think about 9/11? If they say, yeah, that didn't make any sense, or that seemed to be a big farce or whatever, if they're basically voicing an opinion against it, then chances are they're going to be a little bit more open-minded. Now, last night, like I said, when I talked to the one girl that was there, you know, she was interested in flat Earth, and she was all about 9/11. But boy, I mentioned Sandy Hook, and that was it. She shut down.
Hello,
like
Bill.
that.
Nice
And
to see
actually,
you.
She was pissed off at me. So,
You were sacredly jumping on babies being killed.
yeah.
I mean, that touched every mother's heart that saw it without knowing. I mean, mothers all over the country were in tears, maybe fathers too, but mothers, the emotional, were picturing their children at elementary school and in tears and crying and living it. They knew what they were doing with that one, and you're right, that was a brilliant trigger.
Yeah, and I was even trying to show her that, you know, the kids that were Sandy Hook, you know, I explained to her, I said, look, these kids, these are earlier pictures of them. All of those kids, every one of them, appeared at the 2013 Super Bowl, you know, in that January, February, when it was. They were at halftime. They were all there. It is so obvious. You look at every one of those kids, and there they are. They're about 3 or 4 years older, but it is distinctly and absolutely those kids, no doubt.
Did you see how they wouldn't release any of the names? Neither the NFL nor the school? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something,
Yeah.
if you can actually get somebody to look at something like that,
Yeah.
I mean, and some of them, yeah, maybe a little, and some of them are absolute, there is no doubt about it.
It's like the Challenger group, it's just like that.
Exactly.
It's just like that.
Exactly. And that's the level of audacity that they do. They put it right in front of our face and laugh at us. You know, because they know that the people, that basically people in society are so asleep and they are so programmed that they're just simply going to reject it out of cognitive dissonance.
Now, Melody, I was going to finish the question a little bit more too.
Yes.
On it, what I found, sorry, like on 9/11 or that, because I was very, very resistant to 9/11 and it's being a fraud. I was completely resistant. He wanted to talk about it. I shut down, so I know where they're coming from. I know where they're coming from. You know, you can feel them being on the other side of it. What finally got me and turned me over on 9/11 was, instead of look at the video, looking how could this, and people challenged me, how could it be like this? Somebody had to make me curious about it. They had to say, find the plane. And I think what even got me over the thing was like a stupid little joke slideshow called Find the Plane or whatever in the picture, and looking for it, and it's like, well, wait a minute. You have to get like curious and have looking on their own. I don't think you can tell people anything. Most people are very resistant for you. This is the way it is. This is, you have to look at this. You have to.
You have to kind of hold their hand a little bit with them and make them think that they're actually seeing it, and then encourage that.
What do you think is the best
Shout out to
ran
Tim
down
Fuller.
topic to pull out first? That's like,
Federal Reserve.
I mean, as far as
That's a
flat
good
Earth
one.
goes, as far as flat Earth, when you're.
Is it
if
water
you have
level,
a friend
water
that's
view
into
level, or?
conspiracies,
Yeah.
but not this one specifically.
Well,
They know about Sandy Hook, they know about 9/11, they know we're being tricked, but they can't wrap their mind around that the Earth's not.
There's no images,
You know what I mean?
there's no pictures, that's a good place, I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
or all the pictures are different, all the globe pictures. Yeah.
That was yours, right?
And do you have questions?
John, the host of, we are on our 35th
What do you think
Flat
is
Earth
responsible?
meeting.
Everybody says they, the establishment. Get down to really specific. Who do you think are the real controllers of this?
The Vatican.
Yeah, ultimately the Vatican.
Well, I know we say
Rome.
the Vatican, but which?
All roads
And
lead
which,
to Rome.
in other words, specifically, is it George Soros specifically?
No.
Is
Well,
he
it's not any
controlled
one
by-
person.
Anybody who you can see and access visually, or you know their name, they're merely a front.
Yeah.
You're never gonna know who the real controllers actually are. The Vatican is even a front in a way, because behind that, there's a nameless, you don't know the name, you don't know the face. It's just the way it is, but they have all these front organizations and the 13 Illuminati bloodlines, you know, with those, the most richest and powerful families in the world. Even those, they wouldn't be in a book for you to read if they were really the top of the pyramid. So we're basically never really gonna know, but we all have our ideas that we know, the Zionist Jews, the Jesuits,
So this is
I
passed
think
down
they're in
from
every group.
generation
I
to
think it's the
generation.
elite of every group.
So it
is
must
what
be
I think.
some belief system
It's
they
really hard
have.
to say. It's.
because you have to transmit it to your kids or to the right people. It's not happening just now.
Sure.
This has been happening for preparation maybe for centuries.
Oh, without a doubt.
You know, so that means that it's transmitted to generation to generation.
They're born into it.
Does anybody have any idea what that belief system may be? Or is it alien? Or is it?
Well, I'll throw it out there that I would say it's probably whatever the entities are that we call the fallen angels or Lucifer, some dimensional entities that are not us, that our relationship with them is only negative from our standpoint, and that they control through either pure possession of just vessels or, you know, some control over the actual people in charge. So I don't understand how it all works, but it feels like we're being preyed upon by a darker intelligence.
Do you agree with that? I mean, I'd like your opinion too, because you're our guest here, so please tell us.
Personally, yes, I think that there are discarnate entities. They are vibrational in nature. They are referred to by several cultures, you know, they're referred to as the jinn, as the archons. There's lots of different names for them, but they are not physical entities. And of course, this requires kind of a leap of faith, but anybody that has ever experienced really bad things that have happened to them, it's more of a, I guess, of a knowing, to understand it, to experience it and actually know it, than there being
battery's
tangible
dying.
evidence for these kind of dark vibrational entities. They're talked about in virtually every culture, you know, even in Christianity, you know, these demons, if you want to call them demons or whatever. There's a million different names for them, and whether or not they are physical or not.
Hey Jim, love ya.
I doubt it. I mean, I think that they heavily influence the people that are the physical, you know, and some people actually channel them, you know, like channel material. People think, well, I'm channeling somebody with the Pleiadians or whatever, and this is really good. And when you look into channeling, it's very interesting, because when people are channeling entities like Ramtha or what's Daryl's guy?
You could think.
Bashar, there's some sort of possession type going on. And I mean, this is something that has been well documented. So, you know, you can call it all horse hockey all you want, but, you know, it's pretty change their physical. I think, well, maybe there are these non-physical entities that are influencing these, and these realms are actually real. So that's real.
I believe that, yeah, we're here. That we're obviously here for some purpose, because they could just wipe us out, right? If they wanted to, they just wipe us out. So they keep us around for some reason. Maybe it's to harvest the energy from us. I'm not sure, but I used to believe that there was a such thing as the coming of a new world order. I now believe that we've always lived in this, what they call the new world order, and there is no such thing. They're always trying to scare us, and oh, the new world order is on its way, it's on its way. They show us all these dystopian movies where all these realities are tore up. But in reality, our reality is tore up. So we're watching these movies to kind of feel better about our own tore up reality. And there is no new world order. We're already living in it. So I feel like it could go all the way back to Sumer or even the Mesopotamians or whatever. But whenever history began, it's always been on lockdown by the same entities. It may be man, it may be not, maybe demonic in nature. But I don't know. We are definitely on 100% lockdown. And one other thing is, they seem to have to tell us and disclose to us what they're doing through media, movies, TV shows.
I gotta go get a charger for my phone.
They seem to have, they're beholden to let us know what they're doing, even if we're just looking at it as a fantasy sci-fi movie. They're still telling us the truth of these things. Why would they do that? They're either mocking us or they have to do it. So there's something very strange about this reality, because we could all be wiped out in a second if they wanted to do that.
So when you deal with channel material, there are certain universal laws that they talk about, and one of them is the violation of the law of free will. Okay, so basically they can't force us to adopt a certain mindset. They have to convince us or make us adopt that belief on our own. Okay, so when Matt is talking about how they always seem to have to disclose, you know, what they're doing to us, that seems like that would fall under this law of free will agenda, where they literally have to tell you what they're doing in order to make it less karmically, there would be less of a karmic repercussion for them. So I think that that's part of it, and I don't think there's any set written rule as to how it's, you know, to be done, because we see it in a multitude of ways. We see it on TV show, we see it in movies, we see it in landmarks, all kinds of things like that. But it's always, always, always hidden in plain sight, right in front of our face. And you just have to have the right eyes to see. And the Bible, of course, talks about that. You know, let those who have the eyes to see, you know, be able to perceive what's actually going on here. So, and this, granted, I mean, this gets into esoteric, you know, type of knowledge, but you cannot dismiss it. I mean, in my opinion, you simply cannot dismiss it.
When you're looking through the history, just to bring one small point, the guy that came up with the nebular hypothesis claimed that he got that information told to him through seance, because they're just injecting these little things to steer technology or science and the way we think about it, things that we converse over time.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a hard thing to really wrap your head around, but a lot of us, and that's really kind of going down the rabbit hole in a very deep way, and that gets into philosophy and spirituality and you know, ancient religion. But the bottom line is the elites are very much into this occult knowledge, and that's the very reason why I got interested in studying it. It's like, what is it that they're so interested in that, you know, everybody else is led to believe that it's either, well, it's the devil, or maybe it is, you know, or it's complete fantasy nonsense and you should never believe it. You know, that's how we're told to basically view the occult, and yet they are actively practicing it in every way, shape, and form every day. So there's something there, and they wouldn't be doing this if they weren't. And obviously, it's pretty clear that we have overlords. There are people that are in control of this world. The more you become awake, the more you realize that. And every day, even as much as I think I realize about, you know, how much is going on, there's still times that it absolutely just blows me away, you know, when I see this. So.
No.
Yeah, the numerology, the symbolism, is just everywhere. It's omnipresent within our culture.
Indeed it is. And there's so many areas of study of it. I mean, numerology is absolutely fascinating. And, you know, we were talking last night about, you know, different numbering systems and how interesting it is that we seem to be stuck in this base 10. We're always taught in base 10 mathematics. And yet, you know, we have computers that use binary, they use octal, they use base 10, they use hexadecimal, base 16. We have the Mayan culture, which used a base 20 math. We have the Egyptians that were using the base 60 math. So, but we are focused on this base 10 math because it happens to fit this reality that they are setting forth for us so well. So when you try and define things mathematically, it always works out really well, like for NASA. You know, it's interesting because, you know, that's one of the first things that you always get in these conspiratorial arguments. It's like, oh yeah, we'll do the math, show me the math. And it's like, inevitably, NASA's math pans out, it works. You know, and the parts that don't work, they just kind of ignore it. Just like, you know, everybody was asking, well, how can we have this west to east eclipse going on?
Yeah.
You know, when everything is going in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Of course, mathematically, they put together this beautiful model that actually shows how it could be possible. But then they don't turn around and explain, you know, why we get such vastly different sizes of the moon and the Earth and these different.
It's full of holes.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of holes to it. Another thing that I like to point out to people, you know, that are looking at flat Earth is when you look at the sun, and the sun is said to be 865,000 miles in diameter, okay? And yet, in a mere 93 million miles, which is 8 light minutes, okay, the sun appears the size of a Frisbee or smaller in our sky. So then, and you think about that, that's like, beyond belief.
You never, in fact, if it was probably 1,000 miles away, you might not even see it there. And then the thing with it too is that there's also this big question of whether or not, supposedly, light requires a medium to travel through. And if there's a vacuum, then the light can't travel. So the sun, based on that, would have to be in our system.
Right.
And perhaps it's part of the dome, which means it's just like right there.
Right. Light is considered to be an EM wave, it's an electromagnetic wave. And in order for a wave to propagate,
Propagate,
it has to
have
have
medium.
something to perturbate,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Otherwise, it's just like you throw a rock in the water, right? Then the water is the medium, you see things coming out in space, you know, is this vacuum.
It's like talking in the vacuum. You can't hear each other, you wouldn't be able to see each other either for the same reason.
Because sound requires a medium, you know, as a medium, water, whatever.
Have there been experiments where they send light fluid, try to send light fluid